Hello everyone, welcome to Global Government News. Today is Monday, December 20th, 2010, and I'm Darko. Welcome to part 2 of this news bulletin. We're going to finish this video up for tonight. This will be the last of the news for today. This first article up is UN considers establishing global internet police force to regulate the web. It says the internet truly is the last base station of free speech that has yet to be taken over by corporate or political forces and censored, at least in the U.S. But the United Nations is now considering working towards establishing an international governing body to regulate the internet content, which would eventually eliminate online freedom of speech. Next one up, FBI spying on all U.S. citizens. The U.S. government is assembling a new domestic security measure that gathers information about every citizen and resident in America. It says here the system collects, stores, and analyzes information with the help of every state and law enforcement agency about thousands of U.S. citizens and then feeds the information to the FBI, the Washington Post reported. The FBI is building a database with the names and personal information of thousands of Americans whom a local police officer or a fellow citizen believes to be acting suspiciously. Of course, that could be anybody or anybody that is anti-government, is critical of the government. U.S. intelligence officials claim due to nearly 24 of the alleged acts of terrorism this year, the need to identify U.S.-born or naturalized citizens who are planning violent attacks has been more urgent than ever. And all of these are all false flag government-sponsored terrorist attacks, basically fueled or funded by your government, so your intelligence agencies. So it's all a bunch of crap, all based off nothing, just like the war on terror itself, based off 9/11, the biggest false flag terrorism in history. It says government creating vast domestic snooping machine. The government is creating a vast domestic spying network to collect information about Americans in the wake of the September 11th false flag government-sponsored attacks and subsequent terror plots. The Washington Post reports Monday. See, it's all in the name of that. See, now if people were to, at least a good majority of the people in America would wake the hell up and pull their heads out of their asses and realize that the government is capable of carrying out attacks against their own people or allowing them to occur, you know, we wouldn't be going through all of this tyranny right now with the body scanners and all that, and the iris scanners, the mobile iris scanners, the mobile biometric thumbprint scans, the license plate readers, and all the other stuff. But we're going to move on here, and it says the FCC's threat to internet freedom. Net neutrality sounds nice, but the web is working fine now. The new rules will inhibit investment, deter innovation, and create a billable hours bonanza for lawyers. It says tomorrow morning the FCC will mark the winter solstice by taking an unprecedented step to expand government's reach into the internet by attempting to regulate its inner workings. In doing so, the agency will circumvent Congress and disregard a recent court ruling. How did the FCC get here? And you can go in there and read that. I have a bunch of articles I need to cover, so I'm going to keep moving here. The links will be posted. Franken says, under FCC's neutrality rules, the internet as we know it would cease to exist. The FCC was expected this week to vote on the set of so-called net neutrality rules that some Democrats believe would fulfill a key Obama campaign promise to ensure all internet traffic is treated equally. It said, instead, rules authored by FCC Chairman Julius Ganachowski would allow for a greater fractioning of the internet and data rationing on mobile and wired networks. According to analysis of the policies, major network stakeholders like Verizon and AT&T would be able to sell bandwidth in capped tiers with overcharge charges for users who download too much information, and certain types of data traffic like peer-to-peer file transfers could be banned altogether. It says if they pass and telecoms are allowed to move forward with their plans, quote, the internet as we know it would cease to exist, said Senator Al Franken, concluded in an editorial published by the Huffington Post. He went on, the FCC will be meeting to discuss those regulations, and we must make sure that its members understand allowing corporations to control the internet is simply unacceptable. Quote, imagine if Comcast customers couldn't watch Netflix but were limited only to Comcast's video-on-demand service, Franken continued. He was also quoted as saying, imagine if a cable news network could get its website to load faster on your computer than your favorite local political blog, i.e. GGN. Imagine if big corporations with their own agenda could decide who wins and loses online. The internet as we know it would cease to exist. All internet porn will be blocked to protect children under UK government plan. And if you're against this block, well, then you are not for protecting children. You like that little mind control strategy that is used on you? Constantly, the UK government is to combat the early sexualization of children by blocking internet pornography unless parents requested it. It's revealed. You want to know why this is a bunch of bullshit? Because I just covered an effing article about how the UK government is providing a service to children so they can call in and get sex advice via mobile phone text messaging. You can go in there, you can basically Google search that, and you'll find it. So they don't give a shit about the sexualization of children. I guaranteed. Your apps are watching you. Also, if they did, most countries would ban BPA. It says here, your apps are watching you. A WSJ investigation found that iPhone and Android apps are breaching the privacy of smartphone users. It says here, a few devices know more personal details about people than the smartphones in their pockets. Phone numbers, current location, often the owner's real name, even a unique ID number that can never be changed or turned off. These phones don't keep secrets. They are sharing this personal data widely and regularly. A Wall Street Journal investigation has found, said an examination of 101 popular smartphone apps, games, and other software applications for iPhone and Android phones show that 56 transmitted the phone's unique device ID to other companies without the user's awareness or consent. 47 apps transmitted the phone's location in some way, and 5 sent age, gender, and other personal details to outsiders. And moving on here, TSA screenings miss loaded handguns, bombs, says a report. Getting through the airport security line with dangerous weapons is far easier than most people might think, according to a recent ABC News report. Undercover government agents testing the effectiveness of common U.S. TSA airport security protocols found that the majority of the time, TSA agents completely miss obvious weaponry like bombs and loaded handguns stowed in the luggage. And why is that? Well, because that's not their job to keep you safe. Their job is to grope you, prod you, make you feel like a slave, and get a power trip and boost their ego at the same time. And what does all of this do? Well, it fulfills their master's mission, which is to condition the public to accept these measures, these security measures, all in the name of government-sponsored terrorists. State cops nabbed nearly 7,800 cell phone violators. Two laws aimed at limiting the use of cell phones while driving has resulted in nearly 7,800 motorists being pulled over by the Illinois State Police this year, and I'm glad I got the hell out of Illinois. It says 31 cities' tap water has cancer-causing hexavalent chromium, study says. And it says here the Environmental Working Group released a report Monday indicating that millions of Americans are regularly drinking hexavalent chromium, made famous in the film Erin Brockovich as a carcinogen through their tap water. So I guess after all that she did, they found that 31 cities contained this chromium. The highest concentrations were found in Oklahoma, Honolulu, and Riverside, California. So, and there's probably even more things out there in your water that are, may even be worse than that. Police teen involved in devil worshipping ritual. This is an interesting article I came across. It said a teen was taken for a psychological evaluation after police found him in the midst of a devil worshipping ritual in a Gurnee Park, a police official said today. The 15-year-old was found at Go Park behind Warren Township High School on December 16th. He was burning a candle and had drawn a pentagram around the ground with charcoal, said Gurnee police. Said the boy had allegedly told police, quote, he was trying to invoke the beast. So, and why did I include this? Well, because it falls under the War on Terror, Liberty, Sovereignty. Whether you're a Satanist or you're a Christian, this is this individual's religion. I don't know why he would have to get a psychological evaluation. If there was a Jesus worshiper in a park and he was sitting there praying, reading the Bible, I mean, why would he get a psychological evaluation? Or if there was a Muslim with a carpet and he was basically, praying to Allah in the park, you think he would get a psychological evaluation? So I'm not sticking up for devil worshippers. I'm just saying that, don't be a hypocrite. If you're gonna do this to one religious group, you might as well do it to the other ones. The Red Cross bans Christmas. This is another thing that's been growing, a growing trend, and it is all part of the agenda to remove Christianity and morality out of our society. And out in Germany, they basically changed Christmas Village to just basically the village, and it was a festive thing, and they basically took the sign down. And he says here the Red Cross bans Christmas. Christmas has been banned by the Red Cross from its 430 fundraising shops. Staff have been ordered to take down decorations and to remove any other signs of the Christian festival because they could offend Muslims. No, I don't think they give a crap about that. Like I said, it's about removing God out of our society. A high-speed rail rerouted after protests. Over 50% of high-speed rail link between Birmingham and London has been rerouted because of damage caused by protesters. And you go down here and you check this out. Our little buddy pops up. Protests against the plan are supported by Lord Rothschild, the Red Shield, a member of the banking family whose country estate will be crossed by the proposed line. So I wonder how that outcome will result. Undercover investigation of Smithfield Foods reveal factory farm horrors. You can go in there and read this and check it out. It's pretty much standard across most of the country and the world. This is the living standards for the meat that you're eating. And unfortunately, most of that stuff's getting transferred in the meat, all that negative energy. That's my belief. So you can try to go organic if you can afford it, cut down or something. I'm going to start that probably next year. I'm going to try as best as I can. This next one up here is Iraq-Kuwait dust may carry dangerous elements. Researchers studying dust in Iraq and Kuwait say tiny particles of potentially hazardous material could be causing a host of problems in humans, from respiratory ailments to heart disease to neurological conditions. We're going to finish up here by blitzing through these headlines. More than 1 million Europeans signed petition to stop GMO approvals. EU urged to ban, and they put genally modifier crops. This is Press TV, so it's kind of a different country. I don't know if that was a typo or they just use a different term, but it says here campaigners have drawn up a petition of more than 1 million signatures to the EU executive calling for a halt to the approval of the genetically modified crops. 3 more deaths linked to swine flu. Doctors have warned they are seeing the worst flu outbreak in 10 years in some areas as fears grow. When the fear-mongering continues, that 3 more people may have died after contracting swine flu. So it's May. They're not even sure. It says a new death would take the total to 20 so far this winter, with the majority linked to the H1N1 swine flu virus. Laboratory tests on the latest deaths in Leicester are awaited. Flu shot demand droops, prices fall. Drugstores, supermarkets, and some doctors' offices are slashing prices or offering other kinds of deals on flu vaccines this year amid weaker than expected demands. Last fall, hordes of worried parents, pregnant women, and others drove demand for a limited supply of H1N1 flu vaccine as the swine flu pandemic spread across the country, eventually infecting 61 million people in the U.S. and killing more than 12,000. Every year, I think it's 40,000 people die from seasonal flu, so only 2,000 or 12,000 people died. I mean, it's not bad for an epidemic, but this is all eugenics, and these things are being created in a lab, so, they would like to get those numbers higher. Like Bill Gates said, demand for the separate seasonal flu shot was also strong, largely because of the hysteria surrounding the H1N1, most hysteria. Like that hysteria, that's what happens when people are skeptical about something and there's like a mass awakening. They call it hysteria. Why? Because like you're sheep, you're cattle, and that's how they look at you. That's how they view you. Most venues ran out of seasonal flu vaccine earlier by November. And look at this. Walgreens U.S. joined to offer flu shot vouchers to uninsured. So here you go. Maybe that's why their demand is weakening, because they can't afford it. Partnership makes shots available at public health agencies in multiple cities and pharmacies. Pfizer recalls 19,000 Lipitor bottles. And the next one up, Novartis to invest $500 million in Russia. Novartis Eugenics AG on Monday said it will invest around $500 million in Russia over the next 5 years amid efforts to better tap into one of the world's fastest growing emerging markets. So, and they're going to build a new manufacturing plant there, and eugenics will keep going. Russia's got a lot of people. There's a lot of people to be killing over there, man. And just recently, the government said that they're going to move them all into cities, out of the rural areas by force. So that's the first step to it. Use of high radiation CT scans in emergency rooms triples over 9 years. At least 5 killed in Iran quake. Heavy snow hits air travel, roads across Europe. A series of storms threaten California with flooding. Winter disruptions turn travel bitter and chaotic. Next up is cold weather havoc continues across UK. While weather strands Australians, Christmas travel plans ruined for 500,000 air passengers. Solstice eclipse overlap first in 456. This is GGN, and I'm Darko. Thank you.